Yo, what's going on, Planet S.O.N family? It's your main man, JD. For those of you who don't know, I was in the military for 10 years, and here's a random story from my time in the military. Alright, everybody. For everybody who saw that Jimmy video, obviously, I don't have to introduce this guy. I don't have to tell you who he is or how he is. Let's just get to the story. Now, this story, we can all learn from it. Everybody. Me, I use it as a learning experience for myself. It allows me not to get ahead of myself. It allows me to not be stubborn. So, hey, maybe you could learn that same thing too, or maybe you could get something else from it. Whatever it is, let me know. Let's discuss in the comments. Alright, so like I said, this special guy named Jimmy. So for those of you who haven't seen the introduction to Jimmy, you can check out the video. By the way, I hope you enjoy this story. Okay, so Jimmy was my special troop. And you know, when I first came in the military, my first supervisor said, Diaz, how you act as a troop, that's how the universe and karma is going to mold your troops so they could be what you are to me. And I was like, if I'm a good troop to my supervisor, maybe in the future, when I'm a supervisor, when I'm a sergeant, I will have some good troops. I soaked it all up. Later did I know that guy was just trying to sucker me in because that ain't true. Now, don't get me wrong. I had amazing troops. I had troops who would win Airman of the Year, who would get early promotions, who would get commendation medals, achievement medals, so many amazing things that they would get. However, that's not a story for today. Today, we're highlighting one of my worst troops that I had, a guy who I would spend so much time with, more time than I would even spend with my family. Yes, before work, at work, after work, weekdays and weekends. Now, this story has to deal with his stubbornness. So one day, me and him were in our shop in Germany. And as I mentioned in another video, we all know that he was a very hard worker. So when it came to me putting him to work, that's something that wasn't a problem. He would know what to do, and he would always come in and he would work. So at this time, we were in charge of keeping accountability for parts that were coming into the base. So some of the parts that we would take care of were classified, cryptographic, and weapons. Now let me explain those three type of materials. Now, cryptographic items in the military are like radios, like let's say a radio on an aircraft. And also items like night vision goggles, those are items that are considered cryptographic. Classified items are certain items that obviously you don't want the enemy to find. Whether if it's a document in an envelope or just certain material that makes our items like our aircraft run smoother. We literally have some rubber strips that are classified just because the material keeps our aircraft from showing up on radar. So certain items like that. And as for weapons, well, let me be detailed in this so you can better understand what happened with Jimmy. Weapons are guns at any size, whether if it's an M9 or a grenade launcher or anything with the laser on it or just anything that you could shoot somebody with. Now, for the classified items, you put in a classified vault. For the crypto items, you put in a crypto cage. Now, for the weapons, you put in a weapons vault. Is that so hard to do? So one day we get all three items, all in one shipment. And me as a sergeant, I have to sign for them to keep accountability of who touched this part last and where this part is. So me as a ranking person, I have to be responsible for all these items. Now I sign for them and I look that we have a classified document, easy. We have an aircraft radio, which you just put in the crypto cage. And you also have an M249 machine gun. Now, like I said, classified goes to the classified vault, crypto goes to the crypto cage, and weapons goes into the weapons vault. Easy, right? So after I sign for the items, I tell Jimmy, hey man, do me this favor. I have 3 items. Now, as a sergeant, you have to be very specific with your orders. That way, no one could confuse what you're saying and what you want them to do. And obviously, since you're paying attention to what you are saying, you will understand your own expectations. So you set a bar, and if they meet it, then they succeeded. However, people have a chance to exceed the bar, and obviously they get recognition. But sometimes people don't even meet the bar. And that's how you know who your good troops are. So that day when I just received those items, I was honestly in a good mood. You know, I had some rest, I wasn't hungover, I wasn't tired, and also I was willing to just mentor somebody. So I went up to Jimmy and I specifically said, Jimmy, I have 3 items, classified, crypto, and a weapon. So I told him, I need you to take the classified to the classified vault. I need you to take the crypto to the crypto cage. And I need you to take the weapon to the weapons vault. And he said, okay, yeah, no problem, Sergeant Diaz. Boom. And he was gonna go do it. So as he was checking everything, and he was also making sure he was taking accountability of the items, like checking the serial numbers, checking if they match, seeing if it's the correct items, just making sure that he properly identifies the item. So as he's doing this, I'm talking to another troop, and I'm helping my other troop just figure something out. But at the same time, through my peripheral vision, I'm keeping an eye on what Jimmy's doing. So he takes accountability and he checks all the parts, and he grabs himself a forklift. He puts all the parts on a pallet, takes the forklift, and just leaves the section so he can take all the parts to their proper location. So around 30 minutes go by, and that's around a good time Jimmy should be back. My other troop had a part that needed to be put into the crypto cage. So as a sergeant, not to micromanage, but my name was also attached to the weapons classified and the crypto piece that we just got. I just wanted to double check Jimmy's work. So I told my troop, I was like, hey man, let me get that crypto part and I'm just gonna take it myself. So I get down to the crypto cage, I access the cage by myself, and I started putting this new piece into location. So I was trying to find a new location, and guess what I see? I see a 249 machine gun in the crypto cage. Now, this is a major violation, especially in the military, because literally this weapon was already assembled. All it needed was the bullets. And yes, we had to take that seriously because there's terrorist threats everywhere. Anybody could be a terrorist. A woman, a man, any type of race, anybody could be a terrorist. So that's why it's a major violation if we leave an assembled weapon outside of its proper location. So I already knew if I took this up and I told my boss, or if I told someone higher than me, that Jimmy would get in major trouble. However, I was the type of sergeant that didn't eat my own. Yes, Jimmy was a bad troop. However, I didn't wish bad on this man. I wanted him to succeed, and obviously you can see that by all the time that I spent with this man. So when I saw the weapon there, all I did was cover it up, I taped it up, and I put it all the way at the end of the cage, and I put a box over it where I knew no one would find it. So I locked up the cage and I went back to the shop. So then I see Jimmy. I walk in and I walk up to him, nice, calm, and professional. I go, yo Jimmy, let me talk to you real quick. He comes up to me, he goes, yeah, what's up, Sergeant Diaz, what's going on? I was like, hey man, did you take the weapon to the weapons vault? He goes, yeah. I put the classified in the classified vault, the crypto in the crypto cage, and the weapon in the weapons vault. And I was like, hey man, here, let's go to my desk real quick. So I try my best to talk to this man in private. No one could hear us, even though, yes, there's people around us like the other sergeants and the other troops. And also my boss, she's upstairs about maybe 100 feet to where we were at. So I sit him down quietly in a corner and I say, hey Jimmy, look man, I went to the crypto cage and I found the weapon in there. This man, from the top of his lungs, he straight up said, no, Sergeant Diaz, you're wrong. You're always calling me a liar. I did my job. I know how to do my job. You're wrong, Sergeant Diaz. And just straight yelling at me. And no, I don't always call him a liar. So I was like, yo man, you need to calm down, lower your voice. And like I said, I wasn't even tripping that day. I was really just trying to teach the man something. And so I wasn't even trying to give him that same energy he was trying to give me. So I was like, look man, you need to calm down. And if you don't believe me, let's go check together. So he goes, okay, yeah, let me prove you wrong. And I was like, okay, prove me wrong. So after he made this big show, literally everybody was looking at us like, yo, this dude is so dramatic. Like, what's going on? We started walking, and on our way there, my boss comes out. And from her office upstairs, she goes, yo, Diaz, what's going on? Everything good? And I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Everything's all good. And she noticed Jimmy all frustrated, like just mad, stomping his boots, vein popping out of his forehead. This man was enraged. And I was like, no, don't worry about it, boss. I'm good. We're good to go. So then we go to the crypto cage. I open it up. We go straight to the back, in the corner, in the dark, underneath that box. I take off the box and I tell him, all right, man, I need you to open up that box. So he goes to the box, all mad. He opens it up, looks down, and says, I'm sorry, Sergeant Diaz. Come on, man. Come on. I wasn't trying to set this guy up. I was just trying to help him out. I wasn't trying to be mean. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. Yes, I am guilty of being a jerk at times. To all the troops who I was a jerk to, I'm sorry. But sometimes as a sergeant, I needed to be a jerk. But at this moment, I really wasn't. So calmly, I tell him, look, man, between me and you, just understand that I'm just trying to help you. You know, all this time that I spend with you, that I'm trying to help you out, why would you think that I'm trying to harm you in any way? So I was like, look, let's keep this between me and you. Just grab the weapon and go put it in the weapons vault. And he goes, all right, Sergeant Diaz, all right. All this change of heart, this energy just straight up shifted. And I was fine with it. Because like I said, I already knew the guy. I was actually calm that day. And I really didn't want to start any problems. So I was cool with it. He said he was sorry. And the weapon is now in the weapons vault. So as I was walking back to my section, my boss stopped me. She goes, hey, I need you to come up here. I was like, damn. So she goes, yo, so what happened? I heard Jimmy yelling. In the military, we had these core values, and one of the core values is integrity first. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie to my boss just because I want her to know that her sergeant is making the right moves while she's not there. Because for me, I consider it the right move because I'm not harming my troop. I'm teaching him. I'm mentoring him. I'm just correcting his wrongs and helping the entire shop function correctly, and obviously to not lose a weapon. So I told her what happened, and she goes, yo, he really yelled at you? And I was like, look, Sarge, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I personally just didn't want to make it a big deal because, first of all, like I said, I don't even want to harm the guy. But at the same time, I also should have read her energy because, like I said in the beginning, that day I was cool. I was calm. I wasn't hungover. I wasn't stressed out. And I was just ready to teach and also ready to learn. So my energy was very mellow that day. And obviously, Jimmy had a different kind of energy. But something that I didn't take into consideration was my boss's energy. And I guess she was already stressing out for something else. Now that she finds out that one of her troops is yelling at one of her sergeants, well, she kind of got mad at it. So she goes, wait, so he put the weapon in the crypto cage? And I was like, yes, ma'am. And you try to correct him and he started yelling at you? And I was like, yes, ma'am. So then she goes, I'm going to take this to the lieutenant. And I was like, no, not the LT. So we had to walk down to the LT's office and explain what just happened. So the LT, as surprised as I was, as surprised as my boss was, he was like, he put an M249 machine gun in the crypto cage. I was like, yes, sir. So he goes, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to give him a letter of reprimand, which is an LOR. And he goes, you, Sergeant Diaz, are going to give him an LOC, which is a letter of counseling, because he disrespected a non-commissioned officer by yelling at you. And I was like, no, I really have to sit here and take my time to write my troubled troop a letter of counseling when I have other work to do, when I have some other stuff to do. I really have better things to do than to sit there and type up some paperwork just because this man was tripping. Yes, I've given plenty of paperwork to a lot of my troops. However, I really don't like to do it simply because paperwork like a letter of counseling and a letter of reprimand should be the last resort to counsel your troop. Because the first thing you should do is talk to your troop, help mold them, help mentor them, help lead them. You know, all that stuff that I've been saying. And like I said, I tried my best to just keep it between me and him, but obviously he blew it out of proportion because he was so stubborn that it blew up into something crazy. So I go back to my desk, I write up the LOC, and I tell this man, hey man, the lieutenant wants to see you in his office. And obviously, he gets so scared. He starts shaking, he starts getting all nervous, and I was like, look man, relax. So he goes down to the lieutenant, and when you go into an officer's office, it's kind of like what you see in the movies. You know, people stand at attention, they have their certain ways to talk, you salute, you report to the LT, and then he yells at you. So after he signs his paperwork, he comes to me, and now I have to give him the paperwork. So after this man collects his letter of reprimand and his letter of counseling, I have to take all this paperwork, and now I have to file it in his permanent military record. So all that happened just because this man blew the situation out of proportion. What would you do? Would you have kept your cool just the way I did? Because I feel like I did something correct. I wasn't trying to eat my own and shame the guy or get him in trouble. I was just trying to fix it at my level. However, yes, he was disrespectful after yelling at me in public and showing out the way he did. But at the same time, I let it go. I really didn't think it was anything crazy. I already knew the guy. I already knew that he was just a crazy idiot. But he just shot himself in the foot just because he didn't want to take my advice. So like I said at the beginning of the video, this is actually a learning experience for me just because I never want to be in Jimmy's situation. I never want to blow something up that literally could be nipped right at that moment. So obviously we could all learn something. We could all learn to not be so stubborn, not be so hard-headed, and to just listen. We could easily fix a mistake real quick and not blow it up into something bigger where it literally gives us a harsher consequence. What do you think? Who was wrong in that situation? Did Jimmy deserve any of this? Was I wrong? How do you think you would have handled it? Please let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. Thank you for listening to my random story from my time in the military. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll drop some more videos for you guys. Thanks.